Hello everyone and welcome to WhoDey Lounge. I'm your host, Cincy DeFrance. Now before we get started with this video, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening and watching my first two videos, my first two ever YouTube videos. I appreciate that so much. Today's video, if you're not a fan of the NFL and you're not a fan of the Cincinnati Bengals, then maybe today's video is not for you. However, keep an eye out on some other content that I'm going to have coming your way. Okay, we're going to talk about everything. It's going to be in French, it's going to be in English. I'm going to teach you how to curse out that coworker that you don't like in French. Lots of fun stuff, I hope, and some interviews with some other people we can get in here and we can talk about everything. So please keep an eye out for that. Okay, the response was great. Thank you so much. It really felt like when Jay-Z said you could have been anywhere in the world but you chose to be here with me. It felt like that type of moment, so I really appreciate that. Keep an eye out for some more content, but today I'm going to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. I wanted to talk about the Bengals game against the Seattle Seahawks. The Bengals lost that game 21-20. It's a game that I felt like we should have won. We could have won. We had opportunities, but we just couldn't come up with a victory. I had to sum up this game in one word, and how I feel about this game in one word, it comes down to this: trust. What do I mean by trust? First thing, I hope you trusted me. If you listened to my video previewing the game, I hope you trusted me to go and bet a lot of money on the Bengals covering that spread. I told you that 9.5-point spread was way too much. I didn't say bet on the Bengals to win. I said bet on them to cover that spread. Obviously, they did. If you did bet on them to cover that spread, then I hope you won a lot of money. Trust. Speaking of trust, let me get this out the way. I do not trust Randy Bullock. Now, during the game, I tweeted out something that said, angry face emoji, angry face emoji, that missed field goal, angry face emoji, angry face emoji. And then I got a couple of responses back on Twitter and on Facebook. Friends saying, yeah, but what about that fumble from Andy Dalton? What about this? What about that? Yeah, you're right, but I do not trust Randy Bullock. Okay, I remember going back to last year, right after John Brown, boom, kicked the bleep out of that ball, that 55-yard field goal that he came. Marvin Lewis said, there is no kicking competition between him and Randy Bullock. And my question was, why not? I know other things went wrong during the game, throughout the game, that caused us not to score points, penalties, turnovers, etc., etc. But those 3 points though, in a 1-point game, we needed every point. He missed a field goal. I am not a fan of Randy Bullock. I know I'm probably too hard on him. He's probably a better kicker than what I'm giving him credit for. Surely he's a better kicker than what I'm giving him credit for. However, I do not trust him. And you know what? I don't think the coaching staff trusts him either. If you remember, later on in the third quarter, after that missed field goal, the Bengals had the ball. It was 4th and 1, and they went for it. And they ran with Giovanni Bernard, and he got stopped. If they had kicked that field goal, it would have been a 53-yard field goal from that point. 53-yard field goal is a long field goal. I know, it's a big risk. However, if you trust your kicker to make a 50-yard field goal, you might have made a different decision. Maybe I'm being too hard on him. It's just 2 years now, 3 years now. I haven't trusted Randy Bullock. I don't think I'm going to start now. The offensive line. Do you trust the offensive line? The better question is, does this coaching staff trust that offensive line? And the answer is kind of, not really. Okay, and that played out during the game when you had two tight ends, Uzomah and Eifert, staying in a lot to pass block. Two tight ends pass blocking. Now what does that do? That eliminates two players out in their routes on passing downs. So a few times, we had like two receivers out running routes where Uzomah and Eifert were both in the game, but they were sitting there pass blocking. Now I would much rather have Tyler Eifert out there catching passes than standing in and pass blocking. But you could see after watching the film, I understood why they did that, and it's trust. For example, At one point in the game, the Bengals were backed up deep in their own territory. It was 2nd and 15 and Andy Dalton dropped back to pass. Both Andre Smith and Bobby Hart got walked into Andy Dalton. He ended up on the ground. He ended up completing a pass, but on that particular play, the tight ends were out running their routes. It was only the offensive linemen there to fend for themselves. Andy Dalton got hit. He completed the pass, but you realize, oh wait, when we don't keep the tight ends in, then there's a problem. We don't pass protect as well. However, on the next play, the very next play on 3rd down, Tyler Eifert lines up on the right. He motions inside. They snap the ball, and Tyler Eifert pass blocks. Of course, that helped the right side of the line. However, Dalton still ends up getting sacked because there wasn't anybody to help up the middle and on the left side of the line. So even sometimes when they kept a tight end in to help block, to help pass block, they still got sacked. I would much rather, like I said before, I would much rather have Tyler Eifert out running routes and catching touchdowns than sitting there and pass blocking. Now, with that being said, on the play, on the flea flicker, where Andy Dalton threw the flea flicker to John Ross and they scored a touchdown, CJ Uzomah was in to pass block. Andy Dalton had a lot more protection, a lot more time, because a flea flicker takes a lot of time to develop. But he had that time. Uzomah did a good job pass blocking along with the rest of the line, and the result was a touchdown to John Ross. Now, it's not ideal, but I get why they're doing it. But the reason why they're doing it is they don't trust the offensive line. Okay? Now, as I'm watching all of this unfold, I got taken back to the draft and how the Bengals attacked the draft this year. If you believe the reports, the Cincinnati Bengals tried to trade up into the 2nd round, back up further into the 2nd round to draft an offensive lineman. When they were unsuccessful, they traded back and then they drafted Drew Sample. Now, this was a highly scrutinized draft pick because we're thinking, oh my goodness, what are you doing drafting a tight end? Not a flashy tight end who had a lot of stats or whatnot, a blocking tight end. Now, this makes a little bit more sense because if you're going to use your tight ends to pass block, then you want the best blocking tight ends that you can get. Now, when I saw the tight ends doing a lot of pass blocking, this is what I thought of. The only problem with that is Drew Sample was not the person doing the pass blocking. It was Tyler Eifert and CJ Uzomah. Now, with all that being said, Andy Dalton threw for career high in yards and career high in completions. Horrible offensive line, 2 receivers in their route trees. Career high in yards, career high in completions. What do I know? Who would have thunk it? Forget everything I just said. Forget everything I just said, because it makes no sense when you look at career high in yards, career high in completions. No sense whatsoever. Now just imagine you had a healthy AJ Green and a competent offensive line where you didn't have to keep in 2 offensive line, 2 tight ends and to pass protect, and Tyler Eifert could be free to do his Tyler Eifert things. Imagine how great that would be. But again, what do I know? Career high in passing yards, career high in completions. Final thing, do you trust the play calling? Obviously not. People are already asking questions about Zach Taylor's play calling. When it comes to 4th down, should we go for it? Should we punt? Should we go for the touchdown or kick the field goal? That type of thing. I have no problems with Zach Taylor punting in the 4th quarter. Now, a lot of people are criticizing him for that, but I am not at all. In fact, I agree with him. Now, here, let me read this. I want to make sure I get everything right. On the Bengals drive before the controversial punt in the 4th quarter, 1st down, incomplete pass. 2nd down, holding penalty on John Miller. So they repeat the 2nd down, 2nd and 14. Dalton runs out of bounds, effectively being sacked. So now it's 3rd and 16. 3rd and 16, screen pass to John Ross. He gains a few yards, and now it's 4th and 8. Now the question becomes, do you kick a field goal in that situation, or do you go for the touchdown from the 8-yard line? At this point, the Cincinnati Bengals were down 21-17. They opted to kick the field goal. Not too many people have a problem with that. I did hear a few people say, oh, we should have went for the touchdown in that situation, but mostly nobody has a problem with that. Then, do you trust the defense? Because the defense played well the whole game. Besides giving up a few big plays, the defense played great. They were out there running around. They were having fun. Everybody felt like they could trust the defense. What happened? We kicked the ball off. The Seattle Seahawks go 3 and out. So the defense held up their end. Now what happens with the Bengals before this dreaded controversial punt? First down, second down, horrible plays. Everything goes wrong. On the third down, the offensive line, once again, who we did not trust, gets pushed right back into Dalton. So now it's 4th and 7 from their own 44-yard line. Of course, we can't kick a field goal from there. 4th and 7 is kind of far, and there's 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game. What do? You go for it on 4th and 7. First down, second down, third down were disasters, but now you want to go for it on 4th and 7? No. You punt the ball away. You punt the ball away. You trust Huber to have a good punt. You trust the Cincinnati Bengals defense like you just did to be able to stop the Seattle Seahawks. What did? They punt. Huber's punt was a great punt. Ball goes out of bounds at the 6-yard line. So there we have that. The Bengals, first, second down. Now it's third. Now it's 3rd and 1. All we have to do is hold them on this 3rd and 1, except they bust a big run, and that's essentially the game. They were able to run a few more plays. We didn't have any more timeouts, and then they ended up punting the ball back to us. We get the ball back. Then there's the controversial: was it a fumble? Wasn't it a fumble? Of course, it wasn't a fumble, but it doesn't matter. At least not to me, because I did not trust Randy Bullock to kick a game-winning field goal in that situation. And I was kind of skeptical about the Bengals defense coming into this, but after watching them play, fly around, have fun, and wreak havoc, I do trust them now. I do trust the defense. As long as the secondary can come together and can play a little bit better, I do trust this defense. Now, speaking of defense, I don't think Andrew Billings today is getting enough credit. He even got to Russell Wilson one time. He wasn't able to get the sack, but he did knock him down. Russell Wilson got the ball out quickly to the running back, but Andrew Billings wreaked havoc. Now, with that being said, it's on to San Francisco. I still don't trust the offensive line. The 49ers and all the other teams in the NFL now have film on Zach Taylor's offense. They're going to see that he's using tight ends to block, and they're going to throw all different types of stuff out at the Bengals offense. As of this recording, Bosa hasn't practiced all week. That means he might not play. I don't know if he's practicing today. We're going to have to wait and see. If he does, that means he's a good chance to play in the game against the Bengals. If he doesn't, that means there's a good chance that he probably won't play. I hope that leads to not playing, because he could cause havoc, just like Jadeveon Clowney caused havoc for the Bengals a few times. I think Bosa can do the same for the San Francisco 49ers. With that said, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you once again for listening to me. Please, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Any comments you want to leave as well, criticisms, I guess I'll take that too, even though I don't like that. Appreciate your time. Have a great day. Have a WhoDey. A great day. Get it? WhoDey.